allies here.
Hello. How you doing?
Oh, I'm early.
I didn't miss anything, but thank you guys for coming on Monday night towards the end of summer. It's probably the last thing on your list, but it's a good thing that you came. Total numbers. I'll do some quick introductions and then we'll get started. We're a relatively small group in a small space, so this isn't meant to be a lecture and me talking at you. It's more have a conversation. I have plenty of slides and material. I could talk the entire time, but you guys should get out of this what you want to get out of it. So if you have questions or something specific you want to learn or know more about, just ask. I can talk about bicycles and motorcycles and e-bikes all night long. But first, a quick thank you to Greenwich Fire Department and Chief McHugh. They are graciously letting us use their space, electricity, chairs, technology, all of that good stuff. But my name is John Baxendale. I've lived here my whole life. I've traveled a lot. I was in international shipping for almost 30 years. Been to 36 different countries all over the world. I love bicycles. I've always loved bicycles. I would ride in my driveway for hours. And I don't know if anybody follow motorcycle racing at all or watch motorcycle racing when they like have their knee down and they look like they're defying physics and everything else. I used to try and do that on my bicycle. And then when I was 12, I bought a motorcycle, so my parents were not too happy about that. But I've been on and off bicycles and motorcycles my whole life. I've raced every discipline there is for cycling. I still ride 7,000 or 8,000 miles a year. I don't motorcycle nearly that much, but I spend a fair amount of time on a racetrack, so I know a fair amount about going fast and not getting hurt, which are important things. About 3 years ago, Dave's Cycle had closed, and I opened it up under my name, under a new name, Back Cycles, and that's what I do now. So I left my corporate job, and now I bring my dog to work and wear cargo shorts and a t-shirt.
Took a couple pay, of course.
No, pay is much higher, much higher. But it's fun. You get to be a big part of the community, and I get to do something I love. So it's a lot of fun. Come say hi, even if you want to come say hi. My dog is awesome. She's like the loveliest dog ever. So nothing else, come say hi and say if we went to the e-bike thing, say hi to the dog. But other people introduced are Greenwich has active transportation task force, which you guys have been on for pretty much ever, I guess. Yeah. So a long time. But I'll let you guys do your own introductions.
Okay. Yeah, great. So my name's Bob D'Angelo, and like the three of us here, we were born and raised in Greenwich. And for the younger folks here, when we were your age and maybe a little bit older, we rode all over town. And we didn't wear a helmet because helmets weren't invented then. This was in the 1960s. And there weren't that many cars. And we rode all over. We rode to the beach, we rode to the parks, we rode to people's houses. And that was a lot of fun. And really, almost nobody got hurt. It was pretty safe. Today, it's a totally different story, right? A lot more cars, more traffic, bigger cars, faster cars, and the other culprit that's out there is distracted driving. So you have to own your own safety, basically. The town has a responsibility to put infrastructure in a town, and Greenwich, we'll talk about a little bit, way behind on bicycle infrastructure. I lived in Munich, Germany for 6 years. I was a fighter pilot, been all over the world. Do a lot of bike across the United States, love riding a bike. I'm a certified bike instructor with the League of American Cyclists. I teach a lot of young kids how to ride a bike, teach adults how to ride, but I'm really into trying to push for a safer bike culture. But you need infrastructure. We need a lane in Bruce Park that's right now a walking path. It needs to be not 4 feet wide, just make it another 4 feet wider, make it an 8-foot path, so that young families can recreate safely, not on the street, take cars completely out of the equation. And then it'll germinate what's called a safe bike culture, where you have to wear a helmet. When you come up on a walker, you're going to say on your left. You're not going to scare a pedestrian just by coming up to them. If you don't have any infrastructure, you don't have any safe culture. I've known that. I lived in Europe, lived in a lot of different places. So that's what we're trying to do also. Make sure you're safe, ride safe, you know the rules, but also town has a responsibility to build safer infrastructure.
I'm Vin DeMarco. I'm the other half of the Active Transportation Task Force chair. And I can't say I've been all over the world because I haven't. I've been here forever, to go a little bit older than Bob. But basically the same era, did the same things, racing around the block with friends on bikes and stuff. And to me, I was a car guy for many, many decades. I was in business, car business, and I morphed into electric vehicles 30 years ago. Built an electric vehicle. It was like the first one we had here in Greenwich. I did that kind of stuff, and then finally decided that, you know what, this isn't where it's at. It isn't just about clean fuels, it's about the type of transportation. Getting in a four-wheel vehicle doesn't really do much for anything. So two wheels is much better. I'd rather be on a bike. So anyway, I've been involved in this transportation alternatives, if you will, or active transportation for close to 30 years now. For the town I'm talking about. And we haven't gotten too far. So really, I see a lot of young faces, and you're the people that really need to voice it. You need to say, hey, we really do want infrastructure here. A lot of people that don't want infrastructure, they want any change at all, but just want to get in their cars and go where they want to go anytime they want to go. It's not working anymore. There's just too many on the road. So we can develop alternatives. E-bikes are a big thing, scooters, all kinds of different micro-mobility. It's a great thing, but we need to have the infrastructure to do it, or figure out how to make it safe enough until we do have the infrastructure. So tell people, tell the town, tell everybody that you actually want infrastructure, but do your part and don't give it a bad name. Give it a bad name now, injuries, deaths even, it'll all go away. And nothing will ever change. So we really need support from everybody in this.
Yeah, so I'm a little younger than these guys, but
We're all the same age.
so I'm Yash Jain. I've been a resident of Greenwich for about 10 years. And right now I'm a university student in Toronto, Canada, just going to my sophomore year. And I've been in Greenwich for about 10 years before that, born and raised in Connecticut, so I'm in the same area. And I'm traditionally I'm doing computer science, but the past few years I've been interested in general sphere of urban studies and urban planning, and now kind of the active transportation side. And it was kind of this summer that I got in contact with the Transportation Task Force and all the people here to get involved in my hometown just to see what we're doing. And as both these guys have said, it's great to see the amount of people that are showing up, because I was a little worried, coming back. I'm like, I haven't really heard much about active transportation or infrastructure being built, but it's good to see that there's everyone showing up and people are willing to see change. So.
All right.
Do we do, John?
I don't know. Let's look at some slides and see if it sparks any thought here. All right. Who's a good reader, even though it's summertime? I'm going to call on you if you don't want to volunteer. Nobody? All right. I'll let you off on this one. All right. So this is originally a motorcycling quote, but it really applies to cycling and e-bikes as well. Cycling or motorcycling is not in and of itself inherently dangerous, right? So if you do everything right, it's not dangerous, right? It is, however, extremely unforgiving of inattention, ignorance, incompetence, and stupidity, right? Any one of those things, and it's going to go horribly wrong, right? When you're on two wheels, things are a lot different than when you're in a car. So you have a responsibility to yourself and everyone around you to do everything the best possible way you can. So you really have to be mature in how you act and how you do things. All right. So yeah, what I was saying before was we were talking before everyone arrived. The best thing you can do is be the most competent, skilled rider you can. Have the best skill set you possibly can, and there's a lot of things to learn. You have to assume everyone's going to do the wrong thing all the time and have a plan for that pretty much every single time. So when you're on two wheels, you don't have any of the protection that a car has, right? If you are going to have a fight with a car, you're going to lose every single time. Even if you have you hit a pedestrian or anything else, it ends badly for everyone. There's not a lot of protection. So developing skills to be a competent rider is a great thing. You're also doing yourself a favor because you're learning stuff early. You're going to have to learn all this stuff if you're going to get a license anyway, so you might as well learn it now. And there's probably more fun when you're learning it now because you're learning it because you want to be safer and have more fun on your e-bike. this is very true, and it's happening not just in this town, but everywhere. Motorists only see a vehicle. You might have a full face helmet on. They don't think, oh, this is a kid, or I should be careful. Kids on bicycles probably get a little more leniency than e-bikes do. E-bikes already have kind of a bad name because of a small percentage of kids or people that are doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing. So the second you have full face helmet and you're going down the road, they already just see this person's in my way, it's traffic. They're not saying, oh, it's a kid going to practice or it's a kid going to school or anything like that. They're not going to give you extra consideration because you're a kid. They're not even thinking about it as a kid. Yeah, so we want to give you as many skills as we can. We're not going to cover everything we can today because there's a lot to learn. But one thing I'm going to do at the shop, if this all gets traction, and I think it will, is we'll do small groups and we'll do sort of enhanced learning. And we can do things in classroom, and then we can also kind of take it on the road and learn a lot of the things that you should learn and know how to do on your bike or e-bike anyway. That'll be in the works. Are you guys anything? All right. There's a lot, and this is super wordy, so I apologize, but there's a lot to try and get on here. Most people know there's 3 classes of e-bikes. Class 1 and 2 are 20 miles an hour or less. Class 3 is up to 28 miles an hour. Class 1 and 2 have pedal assist, and you can have throttle as well. Class 3 is pedal assist and throttle as well. October, the laws changed, so 28 miles an hour, you need a license. So you basically need to be 16 and have a driver's license. You don't need a motorcycle endorsement, but you do need a driver's license. Class 1 and 2, 20 miles an hour and under, you don't need a license. And then they're trying to tackle the faster e-bikes that are out there with bigger watt motors and bigger batteries by saying they're supposed to be legal, supposed to be registered, and driver's license and motorcycle endorsement, but that's all kind of in the works, and this is all relatively new, so we'll see what happens with that. And then parents that are here, and sorry guys that are here, e-bike controllers can be unrestricted very easily, and it removes the classification and the speed limiter on it. I'm not telling the kids that are here anything they don't know already. You can go on YouTube and unrestrict the bike in probably less than 5 minutes. If it's a 20 mile an hour bike, you probably can go 28 or 30 miles an hour. If it's a 28 mile an hour bike, you can probably get it to go 35 or 40 miles an hour. So just be mindful of, oh, it's only a class 1 or 2. It only goes 20. It might have had some adjustments that it goes a little faster than 20 now. So, and speaking from someone who's had 2 concussions in the last 5 years, hitting anything at 20 miles an hour, even 20 miles an hour, is a lot. Like, I T-boned a car, not my fault, but at about 25 miles an hour, it's not fun. It hurts a lot. Then there's some other general laws. Motorists are required to give cyclists, that includes e-bikes as well, 3 feet of space minimum when passing. You're supposed to stay as far right as practical on the right side of the road, and motorists are supposed to give you 3 feet. They definitely don't. Like I probably get buzzed multiple times a week and have serious accident avoidance probably once or twice a week from cars doing the wrong thing when I'm on a bicycle. E-bikes and helmets. E-bikes are mandatory for any age. So that's a scooter or an e-bike. You are required to wear a helmet regardless of my age or Bob and Vin's age. And then bicycles, anyone under 16, you're supposed to be wearing a helmet, but helmets are so comfortable in lights out, just wear a helmet anyway. Riding on sidewalks and limited access highways is prohibited. So even if your bike goes super fast, don't ride on the highway. And then riding on sidewalks is prohibited, and it's also just a really foolish idea. You don't have, we'll talk about it a little bit later as well, but you don't have line of sight. So even if you're only going 10 or 15 miles an hour, if your sight line is like this, and there's hedges and a driveway and everything else, and someone could come out of there and you're going 10 or 15 or 20 miles an hour, you're gonna have no time to react, and you're gonna end up hitting a person or a car or someone walking their dog, who knows. But riding on sidewalks is not a good idea. E-bikes must follow all standard traffic laws when on the road. So I doubt it's anybody here, but there's plenty of people who are not following any traffic laws. I was just telling a story how my son and I were riding bicycles down to Tots Point the other day, and I could hear the whiz of an e-bike coming, and I was getting prepared for him to come by on the left side in the road. He didn't come by on the left side of the road. We were going about 20 miles an hour. he came by at about 35 on the sidewalk. So probably not the best idea, but you have to follow the traffic laws. I don't see a reason, if you're a responsible rider, why a policeman or anyone would give you a hard time if you're riding responsibly. And you know, people think they can go fast and get away with things. Nothing's faster than a radio, so if there's a cop just down the road and you think, oh, I can go 40 miles an hour, well, if someone's down the road, it doesn't matter if you can go 40 miles an hour, he can stop you. But yeah, just follow traffic laws and try to be as safe as you can. This was news to me, and this has more to do with enforcement on the police officer side. Is a clearly visible label to each e-bike indicates the bike's classification, maximum speed, and motor wattage. So that's as of October 2025. So that'll be interesting. That would help them sort of enforce what's allowed and not allowed. Thoughts, questions?
You want to say something?
You can ask.
I'll say,
He
probably
wants to say
need stickers, so they need to sticker, you need to sticker your e-bike sticking.
I'm almost certain that it's supposed to be done at the manufacturer level. So it might be things coming into the country or sold after that. But if you know what yours is, it's probably not a bad idea to throw a sticker on there just so it's on there if you ever should get stopped.
Once when we were riding on the road, someone told us to get off the road.
That's a perfect example, right? So e-bikes and electric vehicles are so new that no one really knows what's
we
allowed
have
and not
bicycles.
allowed. You have bicycles?
Yeah.
So-
Like,
It's
normal
normal
ways.
bicycles and the scooters that go up
Yeah.
to 13 miles per
Yeah.
hour.
You're allowed to ride bicycles on the sidewalk so long as, and I'll give you areas because it's easier to identify what I'm talking about. So if you're riding, let's say you're riding on the post road from like the Costco to like St. Catharines or something like that. You're like, I am not going to ride on the road because the traffic is super fast and it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Don't ride on the road, ride on the sidewalk. You're allowed to ride on the sidewalk. The caveat is pedestrians have right of way on the sidewalk. So if you come up to somebody walking and you're on your bike, you don't necessarily have to stop and get off, but you do have to give them right of way. So that means give them plenty of space. If it's a tight sidewalk, then slow down and let them pass. So they have right of way on the sidewalk, but you're absolutely allowed to ride on the sidewalk as long as you're not doing it in a dangerous way. Where you cannot ride on the sidewalk is Greenwich Avenue, for example, where there's storefronts and doors constantly opening and closing and pedestrians in and out, or Old Greenwich. So don't ride on the sidewalk there. But other places you can. If it's a dangerous area, you're definitely allowed to.
It seems really counterintuitive to allow children who've never taken a driving class before to tell them that they have to follow the rules of the road.
Yep.
Because they don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So if you're going to, it seems like, I know this is like an echo chamber for this at this point, but if you're gonna tell them that they can ride these vehicles that go 20 miles per hour and that they have to follow the rules of the road, they've never been taught what that means.
Right. Yeah, there's a huge gap in learning, and that's part good about it.
So, I mean, to that, I think what we're also going to try to do, and it's going to become more vocal now, is everybody's familiar with Safety Town. They've been doing Safety Town for a long time. It's a great program, teaching little kids some of the, just their own safety a little bit. So with the League of American Cyclists, I get dialed into everything in the United States with other instructors. And in a lot of towns and cities in this country, they've institutionalized curriculum training in their public schools or the school system in fourth grade. They pick a grade and say every child in this town is going to go through pedestrian bike safety, basically. And that's what's needed in Greenwich, basically. And I think we should do that because that will help. The point you bring up is a bona fide point. I think one way to work that is to come up with a version of Safety Town in, say, fourth grade or middle school, 2 of them, and just build it so that they begin to, at an early age, learn what the rules of the road are, how to scan, signal, scan, all the things that can help everybody stay safe. So that's one of our objectives here, is to get with the Board of Education. It's not rocket science, but it's a really, really important way that we can build safety culture here.
But that's not just, it's not just Board of Education. If you want it in curriculum, you have to get it through the state. So you need state legislators to say there's a module being approved that goes towards the curriculum. So like, for example, health, right? There are certain things that are taught, health classes that are taught through, sometimes it's usually through PE. So where does it fit in the state curriculum? So it sounds like it might need some state
Well,
legislation.
there's towns and cities in Connecticut that it is institutionalized, so it can be done, basically.
Also, Safety Town's privately run, right? That's not run through, it might be, you have to sign up your kid for Safety
Right.
Town and pay a fee for it. This could be done in the same.
No, I just use that as an example, is that model of starting out young and having some fun, but ingraining some learning, that should go on in third grade or fourth grade and the middle schools.
Yeah.
We've run clinics in the schools. We've run them, and that it's a good thing, but it's kind of spotty. It really needs to be institutionalized in this town, quite honestly.
So I have a question for the parents, I guess. Would you be opposed to restricting your child from having an e-bike or even a bicycle, I suppose, at the younger ages, out on the road until they become proficient, learning to use the road and maybe even get a little registration or some kind of a certificate that says that they've gone through that?
Well, I don't know if restriction I'd agree with, but I definitely, I think it's on the parents, right? Like, in other words, it's been up on the parents up to this point. I like the idea of there being an offering to enroll your kid in something to make sure that they know the skills to keep them safe. So, in other words, the parents just have to take the children out and show them examples of like, oh, there's a parked car up ahead. We're going to stop behind that parked car, or we're going to look over our shoulder to make sure it's safe before you go around it. Most kids don't know those skills. They're not intuitive. So, up to this point, it's been on the parents to teach those, but you see so many kids in town who don't have those skills. I would love to, I'm not sure if like a state regulation would be appropriate, but I, as a parent, would say like, you can't go out on your bike until you get that certification. I'd be
That's
willing
right.
to enforce that within the household, yeah.
That's good. We listened in on the Connecticut Bicycle Pedestrians Advisory Board. It's a state agency that was set up by the legislature several years ago. In their meeting on Friday, they did a segment of one of the agenda items. Probably was, I don't know, Bob, were you in on that?
What's that?
It was absolutely, there had to be 15 or more schools that are running programs in, they were able to establish it. And it's a model that most of the schools are using. There shouldn't be any reason why we can't do what we do.
Yeah.
We've been asking for this for years, and it really hasn't happened.
So I want to ask a distinguishing question. When I was in third grade, we had an art class and we had to do, it was a poster contest. It was called Signal Your Intentions. I still remember what I drew. But we were taught, and our kids being taught, just for Don, you put your arm up, right? You have to physically signal on a bicycle. Forget an e-bike. Let's go old school. You actually have to physically signal to somebody if you are making a turn or if you're stopping. So if kids aren't learning that at home, that's a problem to start with. That's a basic thing. So then my question then becomes, now that you have an e-bike, I don't know if all models have like the equivalent of a stoplight. So does an e-bike rider still have the same obligation to hand signal their intentions?
Yes. Yeah, they definitely do, yeah.
We could also reach out to Mrs. Bobby, the National Conference of State Legislature, to see with other towns in the country. I use them all the time to see if there's a blueprint. Whenever we're doing the law, to say, hey, we're thinking about it. Is it done anywhere else? Also, here we use CCM, which I'm on the board of, which is the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities, where we can check in Connecticut. Connecticut's a small state. 168 municipalities. I'm not sure what they're defined, but if we go out to the country, I know Florida's having a big issue with this right now. Just a few weeks ago, a kid was riding his e-bike. They start school there a little earlier, and he got hit and was seriously injured. And Florida may be, because of that, and that's not the first time it's happened down there, so that they may be ahead of us on this as a state. So I could certainly reach out and see if there's any programs, what the Red Cross does with Safety Town, and see if we could implement something like that here, because it's great, it's it's a fun way to get around town, and it takes cars off the road, but there's more cars here now than ever before in Greenwich, and they're distracted drivers, and so it's an issue, so I think it's something we have to stay on top of.
May I speak, because I'm here from a pedestrian's point of view, and I just want to commend all of you for coming here and learning, and the parents particularly, bringing your children here, being involved in the safety of your children. But I came specifically because last Friday, I almost became a statistic. I was walking out of the YMCA, and I was headed towards Whole Foods. And I was not aware of any e-scooter coming up behind me. And all of a sudden, because you don't hear anything, that's one of the issues. All of a sudden, I feel this swish going by me. And it was a scooter.
On the cycle?
On the sidewalk. And this is why this is why I am here. And this young gal, she was high school age. She was tall, big, and she drove that e-scooter so fast that she was ahead in no time at all. If I had stepped to the left 6 inches, I shudder to think what would have happened to me. And this is the impact of what these scooters and bikes, and that's why it's so important to follow the rules. And I don't think, frankly, that e-bikes and bicycles should be on sidewalks anywhere. You have them, in Costco, you have signs saying all of this is prohibited. But in town, you don't have. And that is what is frightening. And I mean, when I live in town, so when I go out, I'm always looking behind me. And guys, I know, look, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother. I understand you gotta have fun. But it's also a question of being responsible and thinking about the people that are walking. That's all I have to say. I thank you very much for being so intelligent and, rising to this occasion. So, good luck. Thank you very much. I'm gonna leave.
Thank you.
It's okay, we're not forcing you.
Sorry?
We're not forcing you to leave.
No, I know, but it's best now to turn it over to everybody concerned. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
So there were some other hands. What do you have?
I guess we were having a bagel at Upper Crest in the span of maybe 15 minutes of sitting on the bench. I think 4 electric so-and-sos, either it's an e-bike or an e-scooter that zoomed on the sidewalk in front with people coming in and out of the door, small children, and some with bad language, and things like Papa Wheelie, inappropriate kid, So I don't know the best way to get to the kids unless they're biking in Greenwich, Old Greenwich, back and forth from Riverside constantly, morning, noon, and night. I mean,
Like since 9 a.m. this morning, that's all we drive with her.
they've
For
been
biking
biking.
time.
Yeah, that's what
So
they do.
we came here with the hopes of teaching them some safety skills
Yep.
around town. Should they be on the sidewalk? Should they be in the street? If they're on the sidewalk and there's a pedestrian in front of them, what do they do?
Hop off, how do you hop off, like off the curb, what do you do?
Is
And then
everybody wearing a helmet?
they're all
And
very
all
good with
helmets that are
helmets.
latched, because there's tons of kids in town who wear helmets and then they're not latched, so.
Yeah, and a lot of complaints about that, and the other day I was in OG, and there was 3 kids, and they had actually nice looking helmets, and they were really like the modern baseball helmets, They're really good. They had
Full face.
yeah.
So we also have full face. The problem is the peripheral vision of the full face. So that we moved to the forest is the full face, and then we just do proper bike helmet for the town. I don't want them to miss it.
Kids don't even know what right of way is. Explain that.
No, so
That's a
it's-
fundamental question. What is right of way? We all know it is.
I think everyone here is on the same page as far as like level of frustration and all of the kids that are doing things, some of them unintentionally, just that are not appropriate or not safe, but they also haven't been taught. So they've just been basically turned loose on whatever vehicle they're on, and all right, we'll see you at whatever time, and they'll just come home. So my hope is, and I think it's not just here, it's pretty much every town, everywhere. I mean, if you run up the line, if you go down to Larchmont, like there was a fatality 2 years ago. Stanford, there was a fatality 3 weeks ago. Trumbull, I think there was a fatality not long. So horrible things are happening. And sometimes that's the catalyst for change. So I think we've already been invited to speak and give something similar to this, catered to middle schoolers at Central in September, October. PTA invited us, and the principal basically said, you have as much time as you need, tell us what you want to do. So we're going to do that. And then usually the way that works is once one school does it, both of them say, well, me too. So I think once we do Central, or start talking to Central for some days, then we'll do Western and Eastern as well.
Could we do it, bring your bike to St. Paul's Church? I mean, every kid learns to ride a bike at St. Paul's Park.
Yeah.
Like,
We've talked about that a little bit, is using some facility somewhere, whether it's a church or civic center or
Yeah,
whatever.
we've run clinics in one, I talked with Joseph Sliano, the head of Parks and Recreation. I think with the new brand new civic center that's open, I think 5 years ago, we ran a safety day there for bicycles. And we had different stations set up,
we went to that,
educational.
yeah, like
Yeah,
5
it was,
years ago.
it was a good start, and it was well attended, actually. I think it was pretty good. I think with the brand new civic center, with the indoor conference rooms, the outside, I think the town should institutionalize, probably in the May timeframe, before the weather gets good, kids get out of school. We should have, it doesn't have to just be at the Eastern Civic Center, it should also be at the Western Civic Center also, both of them. You have a family day where everybody comes to the Civic Center and you offer total safety awareness stuff with a fun thing where helmet, baby seat check on your bicycle, rules of the road. And I think over time, we just build a smarter group of people that have a better culture. There's a way to do it. That's a good way to do it. Have a family day. Everybody is learning about safety, and there's skill stations, and you come away smarter and you come away safer. You had a question in the back there.
Just real quick, well, one second before I forget, because I want to, on your note there. We're very proud of the new Civic Center, and it's filling up all the dates. If somebody tries to get a date there and it's full, I don't want frustration, just let us know, because there are some other facilities, public and private, that we can try. But the Civic Center is filling up pretty quickly for the year, so you usually got to do it like a year ahead now. So just in case, if that's an issue, let me know and I'll. Sorry, sir.
Sure. So just related to rules of the road education, until there's something in place, there's plenty of YouTube videos that parents can watch with their kids that are specifically e-bike rules of the road and e-bike safety. So there's resources available that you can, watch with your kids.
Thank you. Anything else? Good.
Would you advise children to wear a full face helmet on the road on a daily basis?
As long as it fits properly, yeah. It's I've crashed on bicycles and motorcycles a bunch, and I wear a bicycle helmet when I'm on a bicycle. When I'm on a motorcycle, I definitely wear a motorcycle helmet. Bike helmets are great. They work well on the areas they cover, but they also don't cover from here to here. So yeah, a full face helmet is a good idea, as long as it fits you well and you have good visibility, because if it sort of cuts off your peripheral vision, then they don't work quite as well.
That actually, to be honest with you, right today, it's a Connecticut state law. If you're, under 13 years old, you're supposed to be wearing a helmet. It's definitely not, it's not enforceable in town. Nobody's enforcing that. But on 1 October, they're raising that to 18 years old with the idea that it's going to make it more safety. So it's a state law that if you're 18 or under, you're supposed to be wearing a helmet. And I know a lot of kids don't want to wear helmets because it's not cool, but every child that I work with, and I work with their parents because I meet their parents first before I meet them, is don't let your buddy tell you that it's not cool to wear a helmet. I wear a helmet every time I go on my bike, and it's the best thing that you can do to protect yourself, really, because especially at the speeds that you're going to go when you ungovern your e-bike and you're not going 23 miles an hour, you're going to do 40. If you fall off your e-bike, you're going to really hurt your head. You might not survive it, or if you hit somebody else. So that's just one reason why you ride your e-bikes, you should definitely wear a helmet.
And he's a cool guy too.
Go ahead in the hat.
What's a good age to get an e-bike?
Great question.
That's, yeah, I mean, I would say 16, that's not, I would say a good age is 16. It's going to depend very much on the personality of the child and what their ability is to contain themselves. The difference between riding a bicycle and riding an e-bike is a bicycle, you're under your own power, right? So you might get to 20 miles an hour, you might get to 40 miles an hour, right, going down the hill. But on a bicycle, you're not going like this, and you're not going 20 or 30 all the time. And you're on an e-bike, and it's a perfect example of everyone talking about it here. People flying on the sidewalk, flying by whatever. You are wide open throttle all the time on an e-bike, because that's just the fun of it. And it's really hard to have restraint and not go as fast as you can possibly go.
These e-bikes need to be registered and
Not at this time. October, if it's an e-motorcycle, it is supposed to be registered and insured if it is a road legal e-bike, but most of the bikes that people are riding on the road are not intended for the road, so they're not road legal to begin with.
So the other thing, and I'm not trying to be a naysayer. I think it's really great. Riding something is a sense of self-independence and freedom, and we've all done that. John talked about his journey, basically. So it's great what you're doing. I think Fire Chief, you can talk to this better. If you do have an e-bike, and let's just say you opted to get a cheap one because you don't want to spend a lot of money, you went low end on it, do not store that e-bike in your house, basically, because those batteries, he can talk to, John can talk to, it's a really important thing. Those batteries, they blow up, they start fires, they burn houses down, and people in New York City, because they don't, you know, they don't have
They
garages.
use a reconditioned battery.
Yes.
The difference between us and New York City is I worked in New York City for 30 years. They're in their apartments, and these things, when they get going, it's almost like a bomb, like pouring gasoline.
You can't.
You know, and next thing you know, people are getting trapped, hanging out their windows and stuff like that. But I have another story for
Or
you,
stored inside.
young lads, about me not wearing a bicycle helmet. I know you might not think I ride bikes, but I did a long time ago, all right? And I ruined my male modeling career because I was the next Fabio. But in all seriousness, I showed Mr. Baxendale my picture. I fell off my bike, and I was at 25, 26. Had serious surgery on my face, things like that. I had such a bad injury because I did not wear my helmet. I was lazy. You know what I mean? And I very seriously, actually hit a fire actor. Believe it or not, how coincidental. But I won't show you the pictures very graphic, but my point is, I was lazy. That decided not to wear a helmet. You know what I mean? I got hurt really bad. So it's very important. It's great to hear that you guys wear your helmets still. So that's very important.
The fire hydrant's still there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, my bike
Yeah,
kind of got me tired. I got to get my bike. But who knows with my male model.
To round out the helmet discussion,
Owen has a question.
He has a question.
do you have a question? Or your friend's just giving you a hard time? All right, that's all right.
Come on, Owen.
Those are friends are for sometimes. Yeah, helmets now are so lightweight and so well ventilated, there's no reason not to wear a helmet. I mean, I wear a helmet and I forget I'm even wearing it half the time because air just flows through it and it's not hot, it's not heavy. Go ahead.
He wants to know the appropriate age for a new scooter.
That's another tough one. I think it very much depends on the kid and how responsible they are. I think if you can if you know what the rules of the road are, then that's a good time to start talking about it. But until you kind of know what the rules of the road are, that's a tough conversation to have. All right, let's talk about a little bit about the stuff we want to teach you, or at least give you some idea of, which is you guys becoming safer on the road and riding. We're talking about it in 3 different ways, and we'll get to as much as we possibly can. There's the bike, there's safety gear, and then there's bike handling skills and your abilities riding or your competency riding. Those are pretty basic things. So let's just jump in and we'll start talking about it. Your bike, it's the thing called, if you've been to elementary schools and you've been to any of our courses, there's an ABC quick check they've kind of updated for e-bikes. A stands for air, right? I can't tell you the number of people that come in the bike shop, whether it's an e-bike or a regular bike, and there's barely any tire pressure in there. And a tire with no pressure in it, as soon as you go around a corner, it's just gonna roll right off the wheel and you're gonna crash or lose control of it. So always check your air pressure. You should be like, you're a pilot, right, Bob? You should be like a pilot, right, when he walks around his airplane. Like, you were out on the road on this thing.
Kick the tires.
Yeah, make sure everything works the right way. So A is for air, B is for brakes and battery. You have a left and right brake. The right one does which tire?
That one does the back.
Right is rear, right? So R and R, it's the easiest way to remember. Unless you're European, they do it completely backwards. Don't do it that way. And then brakes are super important, right? Everyone likes to go fast, but if you don't stop or know how to stop or they're not working right, then it's not going to be so good. Your battery, which we touched on a little bit just now, batteries should be UL listed. So if you're buying a cheap e-bike off of Amazon for $600, chances are it's probably not UL listed. So don't charge it unattended. Don't leave it charged unattended. It's not a good idea. But before you go out, check your battery and make sure that it's in good working order. It doesn't have any weird corrosion anywhere, and then everything looks okay. Chain, C is for chain, cranks, cassette, and charge. You know, is your chain in good shape? Are your cranks secure? Is your cassette, which if your bike has gears, that's where your chain moves up and down so you can go faster or slower. And then lastly is your battery charged, right? E-bikes are heavy, and if you ever have to pedal one without the assistance of the motor because your battery is dead, good luck. Because most of them look like this e-bike, which the pedals are put on as an afterthought to skirt the law and say that it's a bicycle, not a motorcycle. That's why there's pedals on all these things. They're motorcycles with pedals on them, so that way they can call it a bicycle or classify it as a bicycle. Yeah, so make sure that all those things work and your battery's charged. Q, we say a quick check or a quick release. Your axles, which is what holds your bicycle wheel on the frame itself. That's another big thing that people come in the shop for. Take your wheel, grab it, and just kind of work it back and forth. If it makes any noise at all, then it's probably not secure, and it can come loose and then come out of your bicycle frame, and then that's a horrible thing to try and figure out how to control, front and back. And then one last thing is just check, make sure your bike, you turn your bike on. Most of your bikes probably have a LED screen, which gives you like battery indicator. It also throws error codes, so it'll tell you something's wrong with it. If you see anything wrong with it, then don't take it out. Thoughts, questions on that? All right. In motorcycling, there's a thing called ATGAT, which is all the gear all the time, and pretty much the same thing applies to bicycling and definitely e-bikes. My son makes fun of me because I love this infographic because you can do lots of fun things, but it kind of looks like a beehive. But at the center of this is what? Helmet, right? Which we talked about already. You have two of a lot of things on your body. Some things you have 10 of, right? Fingers, toes, things like that. 2 ears, 2 lungs, 2 kidneys. You only have 1 head, right? So wear your helmet. I used to take rides down the beach on like easy bike rides, and I wouldn't wear my helmet. Like, I don't need this, whatever. It's just not a good idea. Helmets are super lightweight now, and no one ever leaves their driveway. And Chief will probably attest to this as an emergency responder. No one ever leaves their driveway in a car, bicycle, e-bike, motorcycle saying, "Oh, I'm gonna have an accident today." No one ever thinks that, and most accidents happen very close to home. So even if you're just running your friend's house just down the road, just wear your helmet. The other important parts are, some people might say it's overkill, but I think gloves are a good idea. Definitely closed-toed shoes. Don't wear flip-flops. Don't wear Crocs. Those are going to slide off in 2 seconds. And you guys are old enough that I'll tell you, you ever grate cheese at your house? Like you made nachos or anything like that? That's what happens to your skin when you rub it on the ground. It's not a fun experience, I can tell you. And it takes a long time to heal. But yeah, closed-toe shoes, eye protection. We talked about helmets, but we didn't talk about eye protection. You can only see if you can see bugs come in your eye or anything like that, or debris flies off the road. You want to have either goggles or glasses. Both of those things are mandatory on e-bikes and bicycles too. It's not the law, but it's just a good idea. Glove jacket, bright clothing, usually we bring an example of bright clothing, but high visibility is a good thing. You want cars to see you, even though your bike has lights, you want cars to be able to see you. So if you have a brighter colored helmet, or you have a bright vest, or anything like that you can wear, it just gives you a better chance that cars see you. Long pants is a good idea, just because you don't want to hit the ground. And if you do hit the ground, you have at least one layer of insulation that protects you a little bit. You could also wear a long sleeve jacket. Some people go as far as wearing armor. So if you've seen, it's just basically pads. So it's like arm pads. Some jackets and things have armor in them. And it protects you a lot if you do end up falling and hitting the ground. Rain jacket is sometimes going to get too, because you might get stuck in weather that you don't think is going to happen. Thoughts on any of that? Does anyone do any or all of this? Glasses? Sometimes? It's a good idea. You've never been riding out something in your eye? It happens all the time.
Well, no, I wear a helmet, gloves, and glasses.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good idea.
I wear gloves.
Don't wear Crocs. Crocs are comfortable, just don't wear them on your e-bike.
I don't. We don't have e-bikes. Can we just use them on?
All right, I wouldn't wear them on my bicycle either.
I don't have Crocs.
All right, nothing else on that? All right, this is very wordy, so we'll talk about each thing. Who has a speedometer on their e-bike or bicycle?
You do not.
How often are you looking at it? All right, nothing good is happening down. Like if you're riding like this and you're looking down, you're not seeing anything, right? You need to be eyes up all the time. So things come at you pretty quickly. You can see on the following distance thing here. This is how many feet pass you. So at 25 miles an hour, you go 36 feet in 1 second, 30, 44 feet. So like you better be able to stop, you better be able to rack. So if you stare down your speedometer for 2 seconds, you've already gone 72 feet down the road, which is a lot. So always be eyes up riding, so just be paying attention to what you're doing all the time. I don't know if anybody told you this, but you go where you look. So if you're trying to avoid something, don't look at it. So if there's a manhole or there's a rock in the road or whatever, look through it, look around it, and you'll go that way. So look through the corner as well in that respect. So you kind of, when you're riding, you start with your head, and that's sort of the chain of command. If you look and you're turning this way, and you turn your head, your head is connected to your shoulders are connected to your body, kind of lean into the turn, and your whole body goes that way naturally. So you want to look where you want to go. We talked a little about not looking down and getting tunnel vision. If you're not looking up as far as you can, it's very easy. When you're looking down, Bob can attest to this as a pilot, when you're looking down, you're focused on what's right here. Things come at you really, really quickly, and you almost don't have time to react. If you're eyes up and looking as far down the road as you possibly can, all the stuff that's right here is just noise. You see it in your peripheral vision, so you'll see if a car is coming this way, but it's super important just to be eyes up and look down the road as far as you can to give you enough reaction time that you've got to stop, turn, or sort of change your path and do something. Eyes up and scanning, look for trouble down the road. That's a very vague way of saying people are going to do the wrong thing all the time. Just assume they're going to do the wrong thing, and you'll have a good plan or better reaction time to do something to either stop or turn or change your path. The next one is be predictable. It's a very vague way of saying, follow the rules of the road. When you're on an e-bike, you should be riding with traffic, not against it. Does anybody know what I mean? Especially the boys. Do you know what I mean when I say riding with traffic?
Yeah.
So we ride or ride and drive on the right side of the road, so you should always be driving on the right side of the road. For walkers, please do the opposite. I can't tell you the number of adults that I see that are walking, there's no sidewalk and they're walking with traffic. So they have no line of sight of anything coming towards them whatsoever. So if a car was coming too close, they would never know it. They would just potentially get hit. So walk the opposite direction, but always ride with traffic. Being predictable, and this is perfect example of what we talked about here already. Keep your, hold your line. If you're staying on the right side of the road, stay on the right side of the road. Don't just jump into the middle of the road. Maybe there's a car behind you. There might have been a good reason for it, but you have to be predictable. You can't just, go from the sidewalk to the street, to across the street. Cars are not expecting you to do that. they're expecting you to sort of stay in the lane that you're in. So if you're in the right third of the lane, stay in that right third of the lane. And if you are going to do something, make a turn or anything else, use your hands. Most of the e-bikes don't have signals, so just make it very known and make eye contact if you can with the car around you. Tell them what you're doing so you feel safe doing it and they know what you're doing. Turning, we talked a little bit about this already. Look through the corner, so you want to look as far down the road as you possibly can. And we'll talk about braking in a minute, but when you're turning, and this gets into more advanced stuff, but bicycles, motorcycles, they only like to do one thing at one time. You can combine things, but only in an overlapping manner. So you can't do 100% of braking or 100% of turning at one time. So if you ask the tire to do too many things at once, it's going to choose one, and it may not be the one you think it's going to do, so you don't want to do that. So all your braking into a corner, especially if you don't know how steep or severe that corner or curve is, should be done almost before you get to the corner, so you can kind of take your time getting through it. Braking, this is always a fun one. Who wants to be a volunteer? One of the boys can be a volunteer. Otherwise, I'm going to make Bob and Fred do it.
Go, Benny.
Yeah, let's go.
It's easy. It takes like 5 seconds.
Yeah, come on, let's go.
I like it. Negotiations.
Okay, good, Aiden.
All right.
Good job.
Come on, I'll show you what we want you to do.
Go little.
Good job, buddy.
You got to volunteer sometimes, right? How old are you?
Well, then yeah, volunteer.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Don't go yet. You're gonna run, and when you get to the gentleman in the blue t-shirt, you're gonna stop as fast as you can, all right? All right? Everyone's gonna watch you, so don't fall down. You ready? Go ahead, go. All right, come back while you do it one more time. Run fast, and then stop as fast as you can.
Full speed, Aiden.
Go ahead. Okay. All right. Do you know how you stopped?
What?
How did you stop? You have 2 legs, right? So where were your legs when you stopped, or how did your legs stop you?
In the front.
How was it?
In the front.
In the front? You're right. That's what I'm looking for. So I'll pick on Harley Davidson riders because they're notoriously bad motorcycle riders. People will say things like, only use your back brake because you're going to fly over the handlebars. Don't listen to anything else, anybody that they tell you that, don't listen to anything else they have to say. So weight distribution on anything when it's in a neutral position, if you're just rolling along the road, 50% is here, 50% is here. When you're accelerating, your weight goes back here, so your distribution goes back here. When you're stopping, all of your forces and your gravitational pull is here, so you have way more traction on your front tire than you do on your rear tire. You can't just grab it and pull, like that's a big mistake. But your front tire has 70 to 80% of your stopping power, way more than your rear tire. You can use your rear tire too, but your front will definitely have the most stopping power. But it requires modulation, it requires practice. So I would say, have you guys ever practiced stopping bicycles or e-bikes? Why are you smiling? Yes? No?
He does a lot of stoppies.
Good, that's perfect. So when you do it, does everyone know what a stoppie is? All right, so it's, because you do it. So it's when you grab so much front brake that you lift your rear wheel off the ground. It's actually a skill, so
Oh, wow.
it's a good thing as long as you know how to do it.
It's hard riding behind it.
As long as you do it when someone's not right behind you. But it's a good thing to learn how to emergency brake and emergency stop. You have a lot better chance of stopping fast when you're straight up and down. So if you have to stop mid-corner, you're already asking that tire to do one thing, which is turn, and then you say, hey, oh, by the way, we're gonna stop here. And then guess what happens? The tire's like, yeah, I'd rather just say no and then give up completely. So you only have so much traction, but a stoppie is a super good thing to do because you know how quickly you can stop your bike. That's more of a fun thing, but I would encourage all of you, pick a parking lot or a quiet street and stay to the right, and bring a piece of chalk with you, probably have driveway chalk in your garage, and literally pick a start line and then say, I'm gonna roll to whatever comfortable speed, and then stop as quickly as you can, use your rear brake, only your rear, and draw a line wherever you stop. And then use only your front and draw a line wherever you stop, and it'll be a dramatic difference front versus rear. And then when you use both, that distance will shorten up even more. But emergency stopping and emergency, slowing down and braking is a huge skill that keeps you out of a lot of trouble because there's always a lot of stuff that happens in front of you. So it's a good thing to know how to do. Yeah, I would definitely practice that. I had a clinic at the shop for adult cyclists who I would say were all pretty experienced, and I asked them the same question about braking, and every single one of them said, "Oh, definitely use your rear brake." And I went, "Oh man, this is not good." But yeah, front brake is modulation, so you kind of have to think of it. Does anybody know what a ratchet wrench is? You kind of clicks. You have to think about braking and throttle. Like think about that the same way. So your brake is like, your hand, if you like click, and click back, right? So there's an initial, like you grab a lot of brake and you kind of ease off. So you can't just grab it and like, oh, it's one motion. It's more modulation than that. So it's a series of moves to get you to stop smoothly and without losing traction or losing your front end. And the other thing with braking is e-bikes are heavy, right? You have a battery, you have a motor, and they're not going to stop like a bicycle, so it's going to take more time. So always just anticipate it takes more time to stop an e-bike. Questions on that? Thoughts on that? Is that news to anybody? A little bit? Okay. Following distance. When you guys are riding behind each other, bicycles, e-bikes, how closely are you following each other? Like if we say a bike length, like if that's like our unit of measurement.
Well, going how fast?
Doesn't matter how, like you, when you guys are riding comfortably, like how far apart are you guys?
Are you guys really close, or do you give each other space?
Well, when I want to annoy one of them, I get really, really close, and normally, like 2 bike lengths apart.
Okay. Yeah, I would say two or three bike lengths is good. It gives you a little time to react if something bad happens in front of you. If you're right on top of somebody, then you have no time to react, so you're definitely gonna hit them. So same thing kind of goes for cars. When you have an e-bike that goes pretty quickly or you can keep up with traffic, there's a 2-second rule, which usually gives you enough time if you had to emergency brake or stop. And it's an easy thing to do if you're going down the road. Pick a mailbox, pick a street sign. The car goes, and you can see the car pass that street sign or mailbox, and you go 1,000, 2,000. If you hit that mailbox or pass that mailbox or street sign, less than 2 seconds, you're probably following too close, so that you're not gonna have enough reaction time if that car swerves or stops or a deer runs in front of it or something else. All right, traffic awareness. This is again talking about what we don't teach that we probably have to figure out a way to teach. Go ahead.
Is there a bathroom?
Yeah, there is. Right now, there's a store. I think it's the first store on the right.
Yep. Yeah, first one. Yep.
We'll wait for your head.
No, we won't.
Yeah, traffic awareness is, we're basically asking these kids to know the law when no one's really told them the law. So it's a huge skill set and I think burden placing on parents. So maybe we'll be able to get something done, whether it's school district, PTAs, a combination thereof. But I definitely think, like we talked about, that having something at elementary school level and then something at middle school level, because at least what I see is most of the middle school kids are like sort of e-bike riders, and then once they go to high school, maybe they still have e-bikes, I don't know, but a lot of kids get into driving and then are driving cars, and then obviously you take a test and that's a whole different thing. But this is a big gray area that skills are generally lacking. All right, if I talk about risk areas, oh, Bob, this is a good one for you. We can talk about Dory.
Yeah, can we do a Dory demo real
Yeah,
quick?
Mike,
Let's go.
Are you the car or are you the
I'm
bicycle?
gonna be the car, John's gonna be the
Well, you
bike
gotta-
rider, I'll be the car.
You can pull out a chair and you can have
Look,
the,
got it right here,
there you go.
got it figured out. So anybody know what dooring is? Dooring's real dangerous. It's very dangerous. You get really, really hurt. So let's make believe that when you come to a street and there's parallel parked cars, everybody, you know what parallel parked cars are, right? They're just in a line right on the side of the street. Parallel parked cars, and this is a car, this is a car. I'm driving this car right here, and let's just say that this is my front door, right? Driving my car. And I'm stopped, I'm parked, and I'm getting ready to get out of my car. And I'm a little clueless. I don't look back and see if anybody's coming. I'm ready to get out of the car. John's on his bicycle, and he's riding, and let's just say he might be a little clueless.
I'm just
And
looking all over the place except
He's riding too close to cars that are parked, right? So John's riding his bike and I decide to open my door. Guess what? John just goes right into the door. And John, he's gonna get really, really hurt. It's called dooring. So all you guys just need to be aware of that. When you're riding a bike and you come to a line of parked cars, just assume, maybe you can see that somebody's in the car. And if you do see somebody in the car, move out on the road a little bit more, get away from that car, because if they open their door when you're passing by, you're gonna get really, really hurt. It's called dooring. It's a real dangerous thing.
You could be a kid, but you won't see kids because the kids are below the headrests. So a kid coming out of the car, you're not gonna see them. And they're not gonna look at the side mirror like drivers do.
Yeah, dooring is super
Real
dangerous.
important. Just be aware of it.
Do you guys know where in town where parallel, like common places you ride where parallel parked cars are? Do you ride between Riverside and OG? Right, you know where all the stores are in OG, right, in town? Those are all parallel parks, right? One after the other?
Well, some of them are at right angles.
Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking of when you're heading southbound towards the beach.
Oh, yeah.
On that right side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so just give yourself enough space.
Cars are parked along the curb. Their doors along the curb.
So for someone their age, would you say, like, if you're going to the ice cream shop, you stay on the sidewalk or do you go on the road? Because that's a hairy area.
It's definitely a hairy area. If it was me, I would probably say just once you get to the firehouse, just get off the bike and walk down to the ice cream shop with your bike. Like just walk your bike. The alternative is, because you're not really supposed to be riding on the sidewalk there, is if you're riding, make sure you're 4 feet off of that car and take the lane, which down there is a little iffy. Some people are, very nice about driving behind kids and everything else, and other people are not, so.
Or avoid San Beach Road, rather go behind the firehouse.
Right, they go to the
Yeah.
sidewalk, yeah.
That should be the rule to be cycle back there.
And then they can stand on the sidewalk there, all driving to school down towards the beach.
Intersections. You have a question?
Should you have a light on your bike?
Say it
You have
again.
a light.
A light on your bike?
Do I have one?
No.
Should you?
Should you? Yeah, I definitely would. It's anything that helps you be more visible to cars is a good thing. So I usually have 3 different helmets. One is the right one and 2 are more. It's just a preference on my part. I usually have a crazy high-vis yellow one, and I have a black one, and I have a white one. The black one, probably not the best idea. It's not very visible. The high-vis yellow one, you can see my head moving, 200 yards down the road. But lights are a good idea. There's, at a minimum, they make small red LED lights that go on the back of your seat post, which they have usually a solid, a high and low, and then a few different types of flashes. When it's in flash mode, you can easily see it like half a mile or more down the road. So having cars see you when they're coming up on you is definitely a good thing. And it's not a bad idea to have a white blinking light on your handlebar. They're inexpensive and they're all rechargeable and everything else, and it's just good visibility, good insurance.
And you give your suggestions for dusk and when they should, like, how much before sunset they should be, where that reduction starts.
Yeah. Its days are getting shorter, as much as we don't like to admit it. I don't like this. I love the cooler temperatures. I do not like the shorter days. I like when we have, sunrise at 4:30 in the morning and we have sunset at 9 o'clock at night. But it's when you get mixed light, a lot of accidents happen. When the sun is dropping like below the trees and it's driver's sight line, it's almost impossible for drivers to see. If they're driving into the sun, it's almost impossible for them to see if there's a cyclist on the side of the road. So I would just kind of know the routes, and I would say an hour before sunset, you want to probably have people home or not riding on busy roads, or if it's on side roads or quiet. If you know the roads and they're quiet, probably not so bad. But main roads and rush hour in particular, I would try and avoid that if you could.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing up lights. 'Cause, on sidewalks, I encounter kids on bikes during the day and night, on bikes at night, no lights. So I've had a lot of near misses, kids on bikes at night
Imagine.
because they don't have lights and they don't see me on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
E-bikes, do they have lights?
Some do, some don't.
Some do,
Yeah.
some don't.
I would say the majority probably do now. They didn't used to, but the majority.
Because now encountering e-bikes on sidewalks during the day, they're gonna be going a lot faster on the sidewalk at night with no light.
Lights and reflectors on your bikes and also your sneakers. I have a bunch of Hoka sneakers and they're all types of crazy colors, but the orange and the yellows are actually really good at night. So if you have anything black, somebody was biking a couple of years ago. I was going down Shell Point Road and I almost hit within 3 feet and kept going. All dressed in black. Just make sure you light up and you give yourself a chance.
Yep. Other thoughts, questions on lights? Lights are a good idea. The most common things we sell bicycles or e-bikes are kickstands, water bottle holders so you can carry a water bottle, and lights. Like those are the big three things that almost everyone buys, and lights is just a good idea. I've had light sets that are probably like 15 years old. So it's just like, they still work, and we probably have like 10 or 12 of them in the garage. One of them's always on the charger. My son grabs one or I grab one, and we just kind of keep them in rotation, and then we always have one. All right, boys, intersections. Do you know what intersections are?
Guys, if you're watching, sorry, this.
He's
He's asked you a question.
Yeah.
What are they?
Do you know what intersections are?
Yeah,
All right,
like
come on.
places with 4 crosswalks.
Yep. So like the middle picture here, there's a lot going on, but it's actually pretty indicative of most intersections if you're talking about Route 1 or crossing a Route 1. There's 2 lanes that go straight, there's 2 lanes that turn, and there's usually a crossroad. So that's an intersection. The chief will attest to this too. Most accidents happen at intersection. So if you're gonna pay extra attention anywhere, pay extra attention at intersections. So don't go barreling through an intersection, think, oh, I got it, I'm good. Like even if you have a green light, always pay attention at an intersection. There could be a car pulling out, and just take a look and see what the situation is, what cars are around, and what you think they might do. More often than not, two different things happen. One is a car crosses your path in front of you, crosses your line of traffic. So if you're going this way, they come this way in front of you and turn in front of you. The other is they pull out in front of you. So there's a lot of converging vehicles in intersections. So just be mindful of that, and just really, really force yourself to be eyes up in those situations and be super alert and vigilant about what you're doing. Don't be wide open throttle then. And the other thing I'm going to tell you about braking, which is important. So these, 25 miles an hour, 36 feet, 30 miles an hour, 44 feet, 40 miles, 58. Cover your brakes. When you're coming to an intersection or anything that's a little bit sketchy that makes you uncomfortable, back off your throttle and cover your brakes. If you brake with 2 fingers, use your 2 fingers. The brakes that we have now, you can brake with 1 finger. So however you usually brake, slow down, cover your brakes. It takes you 1 second to go from here to here. That 1 second could be 30 to 66 feet, right? So that's the difference between you being able to stop or slow down and hitting something or not in some cases. So when you come to intersections, just cover your brakes. It's sort of a good anticipatory thing to say, all right, this might not go the way I think, so let me be prepared just in case I have to stop. So just cover your brakes when you go through intersections, and I would even argue when you're coming to intersections and cross streets. So like South Beach Avenue is a good example. You have Edgewater and all those roads that are there that people dart in and out of. So anytime you're coming to any crossroad, it's a good idea just to see who's coming and if are they stopping or are they not stopping. Excessive speed. So someone asked me about de-restricting their bike. So it's a 20 mile an hour bike. It probably goes 35 or more when you de-restrict it. It takes a lot of maturity and self-control to not want to go the fastest you can go all the time. And the faster you go, the faster things happen and the faster they can go wrong. So anybody who has a 20 mile an hour bike, I would encourage you to leave it the 20 mile an hour bike. And if at a minimum, ride it for a long time until you develop some very competent skills on braking, cornering, riding in traffic before you say, oh, I'm ready to do this, which may or may not be legal anyway, to de-restrict your bike. I understand that in some ways it's safer because you're riding in traffic, you're riding with traffic, and it gives you sort of a little bit of boost to get out of trouble maybe if you need to, but be super confident at 20 miles an hour before you jump to 35 miles an hour. And a lot of kids that are doing 35 miles an hour have right now anyway. And the chief will probably tell you that a lot of accidents with motorcycles in particular are due mostly to one thing, and it's excessive speed. Most motorcycle accidents don't involve cars. They are single vehicle accidents because it was someone going too fast and got themselves in over their head around the corner or something like that. Thoughts or questions on that? Okay.
This is off topic, but do you know what car that is in the car?
I'm gonna guess that it's a Slingshot or something like that. Did you ever watch Top Gear? It's an older show. It's 3 British guys. You should look it up, it's pretty funny. But if you're a gearhead and you like cars and motorcycles and those things, it's a pretty funny show. The picture was supposed to be funny and excessive speed, that if his face looks like that, he's probably not able to think or process anything at all. He's just going really, really fast. All right, we don't have to go through each one of these, but this is e-bike accident types, causes, and then preventative measures. I can also send this, if you guys want to give me emails or email me, I can send you this slideshow and you can have it if you ever want to look at it or go over it with kids. But you know, there's accident types, there's causes, and there's preventative measures. We can go through specific ones if anyone wants to address anything specific. Up to you guys.
Can you just show them how to do hand signals? Because
Yep.
I don't think.
So the old school ways was you used your right hand for everything, your left hand for everything, because your right hand's doing this. So if you're riding this way, right, now it's generally accepted you can use both hands, but be mindful if you have a throttle, you're taking this hand off your throttle, so you're gonna decelerate when you do that. So right is right, left is left. So if you're turning right, put your hand out well in advance. Hold it out there way longer than you need to. You know, most times I'll count to like 6 or 7 just to make sure, because cars are looking down at their speedometer, they're looking at the radio, they're looking at their phone. So just make sure you have your hand out, and then the car knows you're turning that way. Right turns are generally safer than left turns because you're not crossing the line of traffic. Left turns, left hand out, again, like make it 7 seconds longer than you think you need to. Don't just do this and think, oh, I'm good, because the car probably didn't even see it. They might not even have seen you, but you know, hold it out for a long time, and then just keep in mind that you're crossing 2 lines of traffic. You're making a left turn, you have the car that's coming behind you, and then you have opposing traffic coming at you, right? So there's actually 2 lanes of traffic that you're crossing when you do that. So you have to, it's like crossing the street, right? You have to look both ways before you do that. And then this used to be stopping, this used to be stopping. We do that on group rides, cycling now more than anything else, just because there are no brake lights or anything like that, and you just want to give people a heads up that you're slowing down for stopping. Well, we're talking about hand signals. When you guys are riding, do you call out hazards to each other? Do you know what I mean by that?
Like junk in the road?
Yeah. So bicycle tires are probably the width of my, road tires are like the width of my thumb. Like the ground sees this, that's what the ground sees, right? So like a nail in the road or glass or a 2x4 or anything is a big deal. So when you're riding together, if you're on mountain bikes, it's probably more like 3 fingers that way, but when you're riding together, it's a good thing to help each other out so people don't run stuff over by accident. So if you see a rock or some sort of hazard in the road, just point it out, and then your friends know behind you that, hey, there's something in the road, and just to ride around it. What else with hand signals?
So just on the hand signal thing, John might have a slide for you of the League of American Cyclists. It's bikeleague.org. As parents and riders, a wealth of information under their smart cycling thing. So when you're going to signal, say you want to make a left-hand turn, the first thing you're going to do is scan, signal, scan. You're going to scan twice. So you want to make a left-hand turn, so you want to be, like John said, predictable to a car. You want to let them know what you're going to be doing. So the first thing you're going to do before you signal is you're going to look back, all the way back, to see what's behind you. That's your first scan, okay? And when we run the clinics, we stand behind, we have you go, you turn back, and you have to tell us how many fingers you have up. You've got to really, really look back, and you have to feel comfortable. And so a bicycle and John to turn all the way back and still be pointed straight on your bike, basically. So you scan once, and then you're going to signal. You keep your hand out there for 2 seconds, right? That's your indication that you're going to turn left. But you just don't turn left. It's real, real dangerous. You have to scan a second time to make sure somebody far behind you hasn't speeded up or somebody else showed up. So scan, signal, scan, basically. Got to really look back there. Real important.
One other thing I'll mention that when it ties into what Bob was saying, everybody's bodies are connected, right? Your head down to your feet. So when you do this and you do this, guess what happens? Your head turns, your torso turns, your torso is connected to this arm. More often than not, you turn this way, you just inadvertently went from the side of the road to the middle of the road. It happens with adults all the time. So you have to really practice not going into the middle of the road. So you have to kind of correct what this hand is doing when you look back, because the normal inclination is to kind of go this way with your handlebars, and then you're veering out into the middle of the road, and then you're definitely not being predictable to a car. Yeah.
Another thing related to traffic situations is whenever possible, try to make eye contact with the driver that's near you. So if you can make eye contact with them, you know that they've seen you.
Yeah. What else? Questions, thoughts, anything else we want to cover? There's a lot, and this was like my quick get everything together and cover what we think we can cover in a short amount of time. But yeah, yours, as Bob said in the very beginning, you own your own safety. I think that's what it was, right? So
yeah, you have to own your own safety a little bit.
A slide that shows sharrows. I didn't know they weren't
don't.
until.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think I do.
It looks like two arrows without a stick, right?
We just started putting them around town.
What does that indicate?
It shows the drivers of vehicles that they're sharing the road with bicycles.
I was gonna ask that question, you know, actually, to find out how everyone feels about that. Those who know what sharrows are and those who don't know what sharrows are, they're not necessarily the best in the world. Investing in separated facilities, bike paths, bike lanes, and things like that, but unfortunately, we don't have any of that. So, we did have some sharrows for a little while that kind of went off already in certain places in town. So the question I have for everybody is to go back and look at your roads and say, maybe sharrows really would be a good thing, or maybe not. We would love to know that. I asked the Public Works Department, now that they paved one particular road, actually in my neighborhood, Petwood Road was paved just recently, very front of the park. And it occurred to me that we have tons of e-bikes and cycles, scooters on Petwood Road. And there's a ball field there, and parallel parking and all that kind of stuff. It just seems that it would be safer if cars coming up out of Glenville, let's say, coming up out of Glenville, coming past the park, that they would know ahead of time that to take a look and see that there's going to be bikes and scooters on the road. So it's just a question for our town, actually. DPW is a little uncertain about whether or not we continue to use sharrows. In certain cases, I think it is actually like, it's a step in the right direction. Not the end all, that's for sure, but.
What's the argument that it's a detriment to anyway?
I'm sorry?
What's the argument against them?
They
Against
can
having
be,
them?
they can be a little bit misleading. Some people don't even know what they are. I'm not sure what is that thing, why is there, there's been arguments against that. We'll see, we'll find us stuff online about that.
There's gonna be, he's right, and he's right, there's not really a detriment to them associated with it, but nothing is better than a protected bike lane. The problem here in, not just Greenwich and Connecticut, but the Northeast, if you go down to Florida, lots of towns down there have much wider roads, and they have these bike lanes, and there's a green stripe. And then as you're going towards the intersection, you'll see them lit up, literally lights on them. And I could see them a half mile away. So it's much safer. You don't have that luxury. And we also have some roads here in Greenwich that are very curvy. And they're dangerous just for cars, let alone walkers, hikers, and bikers. So sharrows do help, but they're not, you don't want to get a false sense of security there. Wherever and whenever we can, we're talking about possibly doing a pilot program, and thanks to my friend at the end there, maybe in Old Greenwich, because Old Greenwich seems to be much more open to biking and pedestrian friendly than other parts of town. And I lived in Byram and Coscow, I love those places, but they're more car centric, not so much in Old Greenwich. So we were talking about maybe doing a pilot program there, or a couple of roads where, we have a protected lane there, which, you may lose a couple spaces here or there somewhere, but it's certainly something I think we should look into. New York City has these battles all the time about that. But, Greenwich kind of gets it, and people are traveling around there on their bikes, and it's, for the most part, safe, but not every part of town is like that.
One of those things.
Yeah, I was saying like education is half the battle, right? Infrastructure is kind of the other half too. Like sharrows are great. I mean, look, they're a step in the right direction, as you guys are saying. But I mean, also one argument I can think of is that against sharrows is like it kind of, again, it's mostly just ignorance. People don't really know what they are, right? There's not like as much documentation on the roads when it says like, what is this thing on the road? But yeah, to the point about protect the bike lanes, it's really good to see like, since we're moving in that direction. I think what people struggle to realize when you're changing a neighborhood is like, people don't really like to see change, especially, in this area in general, it's, people like their little, cozy stuff and no change and stuff. And, there is a charm to that, I guess, but I think like, it's a build it and people will come type of mentality, right? I mean, that happened with cars too, like roads, I'm assuming, back before, cars that really hit the mainstream, people were like, why would I change from going from trains to cars? It's a build it and we will come mentality, if you build more infrastructure, you'll get more people just not in a car. And inadvertently, even if, let's say, I hope this doesn't happen, but let's say the education is not, succeeding on some fronts, you can use infrastructure to pick up that slack of it, because with less cars, you have less interactions with, cyclists and cars. And I really want the community of Greenwich, especially, because you guys are, really, you want to see change and you want to see like people, especially some of the like younger people here, like it's important that you, push, your community leaders to like, put some bike lanes in there and, get some more infrastructure, because at the end of the day, like that's really the only way you're gonna get 100% safety.
I have a question about enforcement, I guess, for you, Fred. So are police officers allowed to ticket e-bike users who are not following the rules of the road? In Old Greenwich, we see a lot of teenagers on these things that just run red lights. So my question is, are police being encouraged to enforce the rules of the road? And if so, like, have they ever ticketed anyone? Like, I'm curious, townwide, if they've ever ticketed someone.
Interesting. I know with the new law that takes effect October 1st, they're aware of it, and just like the RTM passed the compromise on restricting gas-powered leaf blowers in the summer. They were pretty clear about they'll absolutely do what they have to do, but they can't get to everything because there's 67 square miles here. It's the second biggest in Connecticut landmass. So a lot of times the cops will show up when someone calls about somebody with a gas-powered leaf blower. By the time we get there, they're gone. Same thing here. I mean, if they have to see them, obviously the cops on the bicycles are great downtown because they can move around, and they actually not only control Greenwich Avenue, they actually check on us at Town Hall, which they never did before. They go about 35, 40 miles an hour. So that's great. But yeah, they're going to do their best to do that. We're also going to be getting, we're waiting for approval and installation of the lights at schools and school zones for slowing down traffic and give people a ticket. It's not for revenue. No, that's not.
Speed
It's
school zones.
yes. I'm sorry. It's just because it's for safety. It's not for revenue. Yes, there'll be some revenue, but that's not. Some people hate them because it's a big brother type of thing, but it's all about safety there. And once you get a ticket, about 25 years ago, I was teaching in New York, and where you were in Morris Park. I went through I thought I did not go through the red light, but apparently it was just. And about 3 weeks later, I got a letter from the New York State Department of Transportation with a $50 fine, and I went through a red light. I never did that again. Even I still don't think I did it, Chief. I paid it, and I never did. But once you get those, so it's really a safety thing, and that will help with this also. And then hopefully we can maybe expand them. Again, I hate having cameras all over the place too, but we just have too many cars and too many people on phones.
Yeah, the big one I see is Riverside Avenue at Lockwood, and then you see kids on very fast e-bikes, and so they're going in the direction north, leaving Riverside, skip the stop sign, hop over to the sidewalk, you know, very narrow there with the telephone pole, zoom through, and then diagonally go back in the direction of traffic. And then they hop the stoplight at St. Catherine's to go down, back on the sidewalk.
We did this as kids, we didn't have
But it wasn't so
people,
fast.
listen to that, we didn't have people driving with this.
Right, then you don't know who you're acting like now. If I
It's a
did,
very
I'd go to
different-
jail. They, you
It's a
know.
very different time.
So can I just make a small comment to your suggestion to do this pilot program in all Greenwich and so on? Can we please not forget about west side of town where we have absolutely nothing?
Yeah, no, as I said, I lived on the west side of town and I it's very different though, the mentality is very different, even downtown. Greenwich has always been more of a car-centric town, and again, I grew up here. I love to walk all over the place, but some people will go on the avenue, they'll park 3 times because they're going to 3 different places instead of walking. We're trying to change the mentality little by little by little by improving these intersections, right, that some people rebel against. But we try to make this intersection safer, more crosswalks, more sidewalks, more improved crosswalks, more improved sidewalks. Little by, and we're doing it now. You want to look on the avenue, they're all getting done now. So it's some parts of town, and Byram is a little tougher because it's more congested. It's why we fought the law that they were trying to pass up there about not requiring developers not having off-street parking. That would be a disaster for places like Byram. I lived on Church Street West. It was crowded, and fire trucks would have a hard time getting in. So we're very much aware of some of the congested areas, but again, we want to work with the people and make sure that, you know, we have the 4 bike cops in Central Greenwich, but we now have, once in a while, we put them in Byram, Old Greenwich. We're trying to move them around and even get some more there because it's much safer and they do a lot more work. But I agree, definitely not being.
Not Byram so much so as Glenville. And that street is dangerous and definitely no biking, no
You had
walking.
a little congestion there today too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're seeing it in Glenville, but I know it's at 11 Western, there are, maybe because of the motorized element, more kids are getting to school on their own gumption. Sorry, gumption is an old term. They're getting there on their own, and so I think it is coming. So OG is obviously a very bicycle friendly area in mentality, but all the kids who are here tonight show that, you know, all the kids are on some sort of wheels.
Yeah, and Glenville's really tough because it's historically been a cut through between King Street and Rybrook and Forchester and Central Greenwich. And we're trying to give it a village green feel again. And so we're doing all this work there. Hopefully in 4 or 5 months it'll be much better. But it's still, you have people have that mentality, they cut through there, they speed. And it's one of the more challenging parts of our town there. But yeah, we're aware of it. And again, we're trying our best to slow traffic down. But you also have one quick example. When DPW did something a few months ago, one of the intersections, crosswalks, I forgot the terms, but they were trying to get traffic to flow quicker. People in Riverside wanted that. I heard from the Riverside Neighborhood Association. People in Costco were crazy. Around Laughlin Avenue, Butler Street, crossing where Fairfield Peace, they did not like it. And DPW, we sat down, they were shocked because they were just told by one group of people that, and that's why we keep telling all the departments, you have to meet with all of the neighborhood groups, tell them what state law is and what local ordinances are, but also get their feedback and see what's possible. And certainly Glenville offers a lot of challenges to us, but we're aware of it. We're going to be putting in a sidewalk. It's in the budget. It actually be started, I think, this fall from on the top there where the we used to have the paddleball courts going up Weaver Street. Yeah, that will help. But again, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. But we're
So
working on it.
what will it take for you guys to widen this street? A lot of signatures, petition, like.
Look at what you widen a street. In some places, like they try to do it in certain areas. You talk about eminent domain and taking people's private property, then you end up in court. It's not. You'd have to have a really eminent domain. You'd have to have a real clear case. You know, my grandparents had a house in Stanford in the 50s, and They lost that, they tried to fight it, but the state came in and took it for 95. That was a clear taking for public purpose. A hospital would fall under that. Not so much, I don't believe in it for development, but private development, but some, in New London, there was a case there was a big court battle. It's tougher to take that, but when we put in a sidewalk, Old Greenwich Shore Road, we told, because of the battles they've had in the past, neighbor against neighbor. Some neighbors didn't want the sidewalks because they had to shovel the snow and the liability they were scared of. Others loved it. So when Maggie Bound reached out and Kirsten Beecher in Old Greenwich and wanted this, we met with them. They were educated, and they educated their neighbors. They got to 75%, and now that sidewalk's super popular there. Not so much. There was an area in Riverside that we threw it out there because a neighbor brought it up, and some of the other neighbors said, no way. And you don't want to get to a 50-50 thing there unless there's a clear case where it's a public safety issue. I grew up on Orchard Street, Coscow. I grew up shoveling snow, so it was no big deal. I thought I had to do that every time it snowed. But if they haven't done it, some people will rebel against it. So that's why we were saying change sometimes is tough. We have to, little by little, we try to push just for the sake of the kids and for people walking and biking.
But Fred, isn't the most immediate thing she can do is work through your neighborhood association?
Yeah. Start there, come to us. Board of Selectmen's a traffic authority too. Claire knows about the laws and all this stuff, and certainly has been really helpful with not only building committees, but by our neighborhood association. You definitely will have your neighborhood associations behind you, but there's certainly, they want to hear from you.
I think schools are actually a great way to start with getting bike infrastructure, actually. I mean, a lot of kids are going to school on bikes. That's one way you can start pitching it in not just Old Greenwich.
Right, like the bike to, every year there's a bike to school day, right? Or however you get to school, walk, bike, whatever means that isn't a car. And we don't do that in our town.
Yeah, there's a lot of
And it's, well, we know, we don't do it in a couple of schools. We don't do it as a town, which is great to see.
Oh, yeah.
Really great to
Anybody
see.
in the state last year.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say that.
Yeah,
Connected with PTAs, absolutely the Safe Routes to School program the state is putting more money into that now again. There's availability of micro grants. We talked about lights before, it struck me like, that's another thing we can do is get, buy lights for kids.
And we have the grant, I put in the budget last year, a grants coordinator, and it got passed. So I'm meeting with, Kate and I are meeting, the administrator, with this person middle of this week, early next week, and we're gonna give this person a task, things to look for grants. So forward some ideas, because we already have a list of things that we want them to look for.
Yeah, so anyway, I would say in closing, I'm sure everybody wants to take off, is that all of these ideas, please send them to us. I mean, we meet every month, the Active Transportation Task Force meets every month, meet all, of course. But we'll be back in September, this will be a subject of discussion. Any sorts of ideas that people come up with, please, we want to know all of this.
And where is that? Is it on Greenwich Recreational website? Where can we find your
The Active Transportation Task Force is under the first select. Go to the town's website, go to the first selectmen's page, find special committees, and we're right on top. Active Transportation is there, so it's right there. You can find us right away. Okay.
And you can participate in our meetings too.
from now on? Active member.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we welcome everybody.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
Thanks, tell them it's Riverside sidewalk, not outside.